Welcome back to Franco Fridays. Today I've got a film that was shot back to back simultaneously with another film Franco did in 1970. She Killed in Ecstasy, which was shot back to back with Vampire Lesbos. And this stars the beautiful, mesmerizing Soledad Miranda. And she plays Mrs. Johnson. Mrs. Johnson is married to a guy named Bavarian actor Fred Williams. And Fred Williams has been experimenting on human embryos and it's for purportedly good, he's got the best interests of humanity at heart, but he is being blackballed by the medical community because of his use of practice on human embryos. And so he commits suicide, and then Soledad Miranda decides to get revenge because she's so in love. It's about love, obsession, necrophilia, and it's really kind of a minimalist retelling of the Diabolical Dr. Z. If you recall Diabolical Dr. Z, the daughter of a famous scientist decides to get revenge on those who killed him. And this is the same situation, except this time it's a husband-wife couple. Soledad Miranda really carries the film. I mean, without her, I think this would be probably a lesser film than the Franco filmography. But her presence is absolutely captivating. It's breathtaking. She was a beautiful 27-year-old woman. I mean, it's just a crying shame that she died tragically in a car accident. The killings in this film are another issue I have with the film, in that I understand Franco has a tendency to dismiss special effects and the need for excessive gore or violence, but I think this film could have used a little bit of a loosening up of that conservative approach here, because a lot of the actual killings are aborted or even off screen, and when you have a revenge story, I think you lose something in the by not making it a little bit more intense. Now, having said that, there's actually a fantastic kill scene in this with a psychedelic 60s see-through pillow. And you can see the victim's face through this psychedelic see-through pillow as she's smothering her. That was fantastic. But the others, where you get stabbings with scissors and things like that, it's done in, almost like a pedantic kind of matter-of-fact way that just, I don't know, it diminishes the fact that we're watching a revenge film. Also in this film is Paul Mueller, who's been in a number of different films. He's one of the scientists in this scientific council. Then you've got Franco himself playing Dr. Deenan. And Dr. Deenan gets it the worst. He gets an S&M treatment that I'm sure Franco took full advantage of, because Soledad Miranda and he get into this strange psychedelic S&M thing before she gets her revenge on him. And then Howard Vernon is in this as one of the scientists, and he plays a creepy old man scientist that Soledad seduces and then offs. It's a fun, psychedelic, interesting film. I don't think it's as good as Vampire Lesbos, mainly because of I think that the downplaying of the violence, I think, hurts a revenge story by its nature. And then the other issue, I think, and you're probably going to be surprised that I say this, the music in this, I think, fits incongruously with the imagery. I love the music in this. Manfred Hubler does the soundtrack. The music is psychedelic, it's 60s, it's upbeat, it's jazzy. You've got a sitar, a sitar sound in this. The music is fantastic. I don't know that it works well when you're watching a bunch of revenge scenarios. It's kind of like if you could put this Manfred Hubler soundtrack on "I Spit on Your Grave" and you would get my point. It's not. It just doesn't work for the proceedings, which is why I think what happened with this is it was shot back to back with Vampire Lesbos as a 2-for-1 kind of deal, and I think that the film just kind of suffered because of that. I think it needed about 10 more minutes of character development, and I think it needed some stronger violent revenge scenes. Now, having said all that, all the sins of those things are forgiven because Soledad Miranda is absolutely captivating in this film. I mean, just smoking a cigarette, the woman is just gorgeous. She is 70 minutes of intensity. So I think the fact that Soledad Miranda's in this makes this an easy 7 out of 10, even with those other flaws in the film. This film was shot in. The scenery in this is once again beautiful. You've got the town of Calpe in Barcelona. There's a house built by a famous Spanish architect, Ricardo Albel. I think it's Ricardo Bofill. And Ricardo Bofill has built this back in his late, I guess he built it in the late 60s, early 70s, this futuristic looking house on the side of the, next to the ocean. It looks like a series of boxes stacked upon one another. And the main house is called Xanadu, but that house is featured in a lot of Franco's films because he had a friend that had access to it. It works very well. It gives you that surreal setting that works extremely well for the proceedings. So, the scenery and the settings are perfect. The music is great. It's wrong for the picture, ironically enough. It doesn't feel right in a revenge story. Great music, wrong film. And then, of course, I think the other real problem with this film is Fred Williams' portrayal as the doctor, the doctor that's been blackballed by the scientific community. Fred Williams is not a good actor. Let's just face it. He's stiff and he just doesn't come across well. But those are those quibbles aside. This thing is a must-own for Soledad Miranda's portrayal. Great. She's just fantastic to look at. Now this Severin release is a pristine picture quality. I mean, it's awesome. There's also a number of special features in this thing, including probably the most heartfelt and open page book interview with Jess Franco that I've ever seen. I mean, it's about a 17-minute interview, and of course it starts off with let's revisit Soledad Miranda, and I think you can really tell his feelings for Soledad Miranda are etched in his soul, like the same as Lena Remay. And once he opens up about Soledad Miranda, you get a deluge of the most honest and open comments that Jess Franco's ever put to camera regarding himself personally and his film career and what he thinks about how people view him today and those type of things. It's a fantastic. If you like Jess Franco, that interview alone is well worth the price of admission. You also get in this about a 20-minute retrospective on Soledad Miranda by this lady named Amy Brown. She seems to be a Soledad Miranda obsessed person. And then Paul Mueller, who's been in a number of Franco films, has about a 6-minute discussion. And then finally you've got the expert on Franco, Stephen Thrower, talking about this film and Vampire Lesbos for about 13-14 minutes. So it's a great release, and if that's not enough, you also get, besides this Blu-ray, you get the soundtrack for 3 films. Vampire Lesbos, She Killed in Ecstasy, and then the final one you get is the Devil Came from Anasaba. I don't know what that is, but that it's the music. The music is fantastic in all these films. Well worth the price of admission. So, I can highly recommend this release from Severin, She Killed in Ecstasy. Not quite as good as some of Franco's better efforts, particularly maybe not quite as good as Vampire Lesbos, but still a great film in its own right. It's got a few flaws that are obviously noticeable, but I still love it. I give it a 7 out of 10, and I would encourage you to check it out. She Killed in Ecstasy. Thanks for watching.